Okay, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. We'll start a lesson from ayah number 224, inshallah, 224. Word to word translation first we'll do. Inshallah, let's see how much we'll cover. Alhamdulillahi allazi nahmaduhu wa nusalli ala rasulihil kareem. Amma ba'd, fa'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Rabbi zidna ilma. Allahumma ihdi qalbi wa saddid lisani waslul saqimata qalbi. Ameen ya rabbal alameen. So we are starting inshallah about this ayah from word to word translation 224. Were and la do not. Okay, first listen to the recitation of the two ayahs 224 and 25. Okay, we'll start word to word translation. Inshallah, ayah 224. Were and la do not, taj alu, you all make, Allah, Allah, urdatan, a shield, excuse, object, li aymanikum, li for aymanikum,
Aymanikum,
your
your
oath, your
your
oath,
oaths,
and that not tabarru, you all do good piety, virtue, were and tattahu, you all safeguard selves, adopt taqwa, were and tuslihu, you all make peace, perform baina between annasi, the people, mankind, were and Allahu, Allah, Samiun is always all hearer, Alimun always all knower. Okay, okay, running translation. Do not use Allah's name. Wala taj'alullaha urdatan li aymanikum. Do not use Allah's name in your oath as an excuse to antabarru wa tattaqu wa tuslihu bainan nas, as an excuse to prevent you from dealing justly, guarding against evil and making peace. Okay, wa tuslihu bainan nas, and making peace between people. Wallahu Samiyun Alim, Allah hears and knows everything. Now Allah says, Wala tajalu, do not you use Allah's name. Wala tajalullah, do not use Allah's name. Urdatan li amanikum, in your oaths as an excuse. Amanikum is the plural of yameen, meaning what? The oaths, vows, okay? So what happens that people always, swear. I swear by Allah, I won't do this. I will do this. I swear by Allah, I don't. I'm not a liar. If somebody says you done this, you done that, people, swear and make say, oh, they use, they swear by Allah. I haven't done this. There's a vows and swearing and taking oath. So we shouldn't take Allah's name in telling that. I won't do good to with somebody. I won't reconcile if two people are fighting. So never use Allah's name. Never swear, okay, between the people. Wallahu Sameen Alim. Allah hears and knows everything which we do, right? Allah is Sameen. He is always all hearer. Alim, he always all knower. So, meaning when you are angry, what happens? We become angry, okay? And so don't vow that I won't do any good thing, any piety work, virtues with so and so person, with such and such person. I won't talk with such and such person. By Allah, I won't talk with such and person. I will not make peace, reform, reconciliation between the two who are fighting, etc., etc. So never say, don't take Allah's name, don't swear. Okay, okay. In a hadith, we come to know that for such a vow, you make such vow, you if you break it, now you make a vow. Okay, I won't do this. I won't talk to such and such person, my cousin, my siblings. They were bad to me. This that. So now you make a vow. So and if you breaking it, you break it. So you have to pay a kafara. You have to expiate for it. So in tafsir, in explanation, we see how what is the expiation. So we learn from authentic traditions that if anyone takes a thoughtless oath to do or not to do a thing and afterwards realizes the fairness demands its abrogation, he should abrogate it and expiate for it. The expiation for breaking an oath is the feeding of 10 needy persons or clothing them or the liberation of a slave. If one cannot afford if one cannot afford this, we must observe fast for 3 days. And this we come to know from Surah Al-Ma'idah, okay, Ayah 89. So there are four options. If we break a oath, if we swear something and we break it, so there are four options for its expiation, for its kafara. Number one is that feeding 10 needy. Okay, you have to feed 10 needy person because you have broken your vows, your oaths. Okay, if you are not feeding 10%, it is or four option. From among the four, you have to do one. Then clothing the 10 people. Okay, if not that also, then liberation of a slave. Now, nowadays we don't find slave, so there this is not such a society. Pre-Islamic era, after that there was slavery. And the fourth option is, if one cannot afford all this, he must observe fast for 3 days. So there is neither expiation nor any punishment for those oaths that one utters unawares as a byword. Like people used to, before Prophet Sallallahu in the Quraysh Makkah, the Makkan people, they used to worship their idols. Lat, Uzza, Manat, these were the names of their idols. And they were quite used to telling, by Lat, I won't do this. Manat, I won't do this. They used to take the names. So when they, accepted Islam, they embraced Islam. What happened? It was in their habit. Unintentionally, they used to say that. So there is no expiation for that, right? Okay, we see the prohibition of swearing to abandon a good deed. Allah commands. Now we see what Allah commands. Allah commands you should not implement your vows in Allah's name to refrain from pious acts and swearing the relation with the relatives. If you swear and to abandon what such causes, Allah said in is another ayah. See, now one thing I'll tell here, that now you make a vow that I won't do pious acts, and then the second one is that you say that I'll break the relations with my relatives. So those who break the relations, they will go into the hellfire. There's a hadith that those who breaks the kin relations will go into the hellfire. And when you are not in talking terms with other Muslims, your relatives, your siblings, your friends, other Muslims for 3 days, your book of deeds is not presented to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because every Mondays and Thursdays your book of deeds is presented to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by the angels. Everybody knows that Kraman Katibin, they are the scribers. They write your deeds. They are on your left and right shoulder. They write your deeds. And if you are not in talking terms, and if you are cutting your kin relationships with somebody, so your deeds are not presented to Allah Subhanahu wa Taala. So which is why Prophet Sallam used to fast on Mondays and Thursdays, and it was asked by the Sahaba, by the companions, to Prophet Sallam, that why do you fast on Mondays, on Thursdays? You are the Prophet of Allah Subhanahu wa Taala. Your sins are forgiven. You'll be going to Jannah. He said no. On Mondays and Thursdays, the deeds are presented to Allah Subhanahu wa Taala. So I want, when my deeds are shown to Allah Subhanahu wa Taala, I should be I should be fasting. So if you swear to abandon such causes, Allah said in another ayah, "Wala yatili ulul fadli minkum wasaati an yutu ulil qurba wal masakina wal muhajirina fi sabilillah wal yafu wal yasfahu Allah tuhibbuna an yaghfirallahu lakum." And let not those among you are blessed with graces and wealth swear not to give any sort of help to their kinsmen, al-miskin, the poor, and those who left their homes for Allah's cause. Let them pardon and forgive. Do you not love that Allah should forgive you? So here Allah says that what you do, you should forgive uh, people. You should pardon, you should forgive, because if you will pardon and forgive, you will also be forgiven. Do you not love that Allah should forgive you? So if you love that Allah should forgive you, you should pardon people, you should forgive people their mistakes. Don't keep it in your heart that, oh, I won't talk to them, I won't be in terms with them. So this ayah, there's a background about this ayah. Actually, what happened, that I should tell you, uh, people migrated from, by the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Prophet Sallallahu and all the companions, Sahaba, migrated from Makkah to Medina, because everybody knows that there was aggression in Makkah. The mushrikeen of Makkah, the polytheists of Makkah, they were the relatives of Prophet Sallallahu, even his uncles, and uh, uh, they were not in favor of Islam, and there was aggression. They were not even letting them pray in Khana Kaaba, in Baitullah, in Masjid al-Haram, and there was great, persecution. So physical persecution as well. So they tolerated 13 years. They tolerated. But a time came that Allah, by the command of Allah, Allah told them to migrate to Medina al-Munawwara. So they migrated to Medina, and this ayah is revealed about Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu. Who is Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu? Can anybody tell me? Any one of you? Unmute and say, who is Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu? Can anybody tell me? Yes? You can unmute and tell me. Hello? Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu is the first caliph. Okay, after Prophet Wasallam died, he was the first caliph. So what happened that Abu Bakr Siddiq's daughter, Hazrat Aisha radiallahu anha, which is the beloved wife of Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam also, there was a slander about her, and the cousin of Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu was, involved in that slander. When Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu came to know, he used to, give, because he was in need. So Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu used to give him some aid, some wazifa in the shape of money, monthly, or to help him out. So when he was involved in the slender of his daughter Mista, his cousin, so Abu Bakr Siddiq said that I won't give any aid to him anymore. I won't give the money, the wazifa to him. So this ayah was revealed. Allah SWT said that you don't love that Allah should forgive you, and you, the blessed people, those who have got wealth, they shouldn't swear not to give any sort of help to their kinsmen, so, and to the miskin and to the poor, and they have left their home. They have also come from Makkah to Medina. So just pardon them, just forgive them, and then if you love that Allah should forgive you, so you should pardon them and forgive them. So continuity in a sinful vow is more sinful than breaking it by expiation. Allah's messenger said, by Allah, it is more sinful to Allah that one of you implements his vow regarding swearing the relations with his relatives than breaking his promise and paying the kafara that Allah has required in such cases. This is how Sahih Muslim reported in the hadith, and also Imam Ahmad said that Ali ibn Abu Talha reported that Ibn Abbas said that when Allah said "Wala taj'alullaha urdatan li aymanikum," and make not Allah's name an excuse in your oaths, means do not vow to refrain from doing good works. If you make such vow, then break it, pay the kafara, expiation, and do the good work. This was also said by so many commentators, right? The names are here. So supporting this view, which is the majority view, is that is reported in the two Sahihs, in Sahih Bukhari and Sahih Muslim, that Prophet ﷺ said, by Allah, by Allah, Allah willing, I will not vow to do a thing and then see a better act, but I would do what is better and break my vow. And in Sahih Muslim, Abu Huraira narrated that he said that Prophet ﷺ said, whoever makes a vow and then finds what is better than his vow should break this vow, pay the kafara, and perform the better deed. And you know the expiation, freeing a slave or feeding the people. Uh, you know, the kafara is the expiation for breaking an oath is feeding of 10 needy persons, or we have got four options: or clothing them, or liberation of a slave. If one cannot afford this, he must observe fast for 3 days. So this is not an easy thing. Never say, by Allah, I won't do this. You know, if you love your parents, you say, oh, by my father, I would not do this, or I would do this. Okay, don't use people name. You can take Allah's name. Okay, but not don't swear, because you know you see the Arabs, they will say billah, tallah, wallah when they swear, right? Okay. On the next ayah, la not you are khizukum. He will ceases cause to account you all who Allah billah with the vain, useless, fee in imanikum oaths, if you all, walakin, but you are khizukum, he will ceases, calls to account you all, bima, with, for what, kasabat, it, she earned, kulubukum, kulub is the plural of kalbun, kalbun is one, kulub is plural, kulub, hearts, kum, you all, kulubukum, hearts of you all, were, and Allahu Allah Ghafurun is all forgiving, Halimun, always all forbearing, tolerant, kind. Okay. Now any translation? La yu'akhizukumullahu billaghwi fi aymanikum. Allah will not hold you accountable for what is inadvertent in your oaths. So lagh, the root word is lain, lam, ghain, wow, meaning in vain, useless talk, right? Fi aymanikum, aman is the plural of yameen. So Allah will not hold you accountable for what is useless, in vain, inadvertent in your oaths. Walakin yuakhizukum bima kasat qulubukum, but He will hold you accountable for what you intended in your hearts. Wallahu ghafurun halim. Allah is forgiving for bearing. So we see the tafsir. The love intention, love is the root. The root word is lam, ghain, wow. Love unintentional vows. Allah said, La yuakhizukumullahu billaghwi fi aymanikum. Allah will not call you to account for that which is unintentional in your oaths. This ayah means Allah does not punish or hold you accountable for the love unintentional vows that you make. The love vows are unintentional and are just like the habitual statements that the tongue repeats without really intending them. For instance, it is reported in the two Sahihs, in Sahih Bukhari and Muslim, that Abu Huraira narrated radiallahu anhu, that Prophet ﷺ said, whoever swore and unintentionally mentioned Allah, Al Uzza, two idols in his vow, should then say, there is no deity worthy of worship except Allah. Because they, before Islam, they believe in the idols, Lat, Manat, Uzza, and they were very habitual, of swearing and making vows. So they used to take the names in the name of their idols, because they used to worship them. They used to take the name of the idols, that I swear by Lat, I swear by Uzza, I swear by Manat. So they were habitual. So unintentionally, after being Muslim also, it used to come on their tongue. So Allah said, Prophet ﷺ said, if unintentionally, because you are habitual of saying that, it comes on your tongue by Lat, by Uzza, by the idols. So what you say, if you said that, right, by Lat, by Manat, by Uzza, I won't do this, I will do that. So you say, Ashhadu la ilaha illallah. There is no deity worthy of worship except Allah. Ashhadu la ilaha illallah. So the messenger said, so these are the unintentional, vows. The messenger said this statement to some new Muslims whose tongues were before Islam used to vowing their idols Allah. Therefore, the Prophet ordered them to unintentionally recite the slogan of Ikhlas, just as they mentioned these words by mistake, so that the word of Ikhlas may eradicate the word of shirk. Because, and this is shirk, right? When you take the name by Lat, by Manat, by Uzza, the name of idols they used to take, so it was a shirk. And this was, they were doing unintentionally because it was in their tongue. So Prophet Wasallam said, you say the word of Ikhlas, that Ashhadu Allah ilaha illallah, there is no deity worthy of worship. So it will eradicate the word of shirk. You use the name of idols, so it will eradicate. This is why Allah said, Walakin yuakhizukum bima kasabat qulubukum. Qulub is the plural of qalb. Qalb is one and qulub is plural. But He will call you to account for that which your hearts have earned. So if it is love, that swearing, taking oaths, that vows are unintentional. So Allah won't account for that because it was on their tongue. It's the case is with us also. Many things we are habitual of telling, so it comes on our tongue. So there is no account for that. But walakin yuakhizukum bima kasabat qulubukum, but He will call you to account for that which your hearts have earned. And in another ayah, Allah says, Bima akattumul aimana, for your deliberate oaths. But if you take, you do take that oath, if you vow, if you swear deliberately, then you will, for that we are accountable. So there's a hadith in Abu Dawud, the love vows, the unintentional vows that Ata radiallahu anhu said, that Aisha radiallahu anhu, the beloved wife of Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, said that Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, uh, the Prophet ﷺ said that the love is in the oaths, the love in the vows includes what the man says in his house, such as no by Allah and yes by Allah. Ibn Abu Hatim reported that Ibn Abbas said the love vow includes vowing while angry. And it happens when you are angry, then also you vow, right? So he also reported that Ibn Abbas said the love or vow includes vowing to prohibit what Allah has allowed, and this type does not require a kafara expiation. Similar was said by Said bin Jubair. In addition to Abu Dawud related under chapter, everybody knows that in Hadith books there are many chapters, right? So this hadith is from the chapter vowing while angry. So there are many chapters in all the Hadith book, chapter the book of Jihad, the book of Salah, the book of Tahara, the book. So there's a chapter vowing while angry that Sayyid bin Musayyib said that two Ansari brothers, both there's a received inheritance. There were two Ansari brothers. Ansar were the people who lived in Medina, and Muhajir were the people who migrated from Makkah to Medina. So there were two locals, the Ansaris of Medina. They were brothers. Both received inheritance. When you receive the inheritance, when your parents died, and one of them asked that the inheritance be divided. His brother said, if you ask me about dividing the inheritance again, they were already given the share. So one of the brothers said that I will divide it. Then the one of the brothers said, if you ask me about dividing the inheritance again, then all of what I have will be spent on the Kaaba door. Everybody knows Kaaba. The uh, in the Kaaba is in the Baitul Haram, in Masjidul Haram in Makkah. So Umar radiallahu anhu said to them, when Umar radiallahu anhu came to know, the third caliph of Islam came to know, they said to those two brothers, the Kaaba does not need your money, so break your vow, pay the kafara, and come to terms with your brother. I heard Allah's messenger saying, do not make a vow against yourself, not to disobey the Lord, cut the relations of the wombs, or dispose of what you do not own. So don't make vows against yourself. and or not to disobey the Lord. Don't make vow that I won't do, obey such and such command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Like, I won't pray, I won't fast. Don't say that. By Allah, I won't fast, I won't do pray. And don't say, oh, by Allah, in the name of Allah, I say that I will cut relations of the womb, kin relationships, or dispose of what you do not own. Okay. Okay. Allah said, Walakin yuakhizukum bima kasabat qulubukum, but he will call you to account for that which your heart have earned. Okay. Walakin yuakhizukum bima aqattumul aymana, but he will punish you for your deliberate oaths. Okay. So if you do something, make a oath, make a vow deliberately, then Allah will punish you. Wallahu ghafurun halim, and Allah is oft forgiving, most forbearing, meaning He is oft forgiving to His servants and most forbearing with them. Okay. Now next ayah we'll do inshallah. Okay. Now ayah number 226. Lil lazina, li for al lazina, those who you luna, they swear ila, vow of sexual abstinence, min nisaim, min from nisaim, nisa their women's, nisaim their woman's wife. Nisa is woman, him is there. Okay, it's a pronoun. Nisaim their woman. Tarabbasu, to waiting, arbaatin of 4 ashhurin of 4 months. Ashhur is the plural of shahar. Shahar is one and ashhur is plural. Ashurin of months, fa'in, for then, in, if, fa'u, they return, fa'inna, for then, inna, indeed, fa'inna, then, indeed, Allah, Allah, ghafurun, is all forgiving, rahimun, and always all merciful. Okay, running translation. Lilladina yuluna, the root word is hamza, lam, hamza, ilah. Okay. Lillazina yuluna min nisaihim, those who renounce conjugal relationship with their wives. Tarabbasu arbata ashurin, on oath, have a limitation of 4 months. Fine fa'u, if they reconcile and restore their relationship. فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ, surely Allah is Ghafurur Rahim, is forgiving and merciful. So here, لِلَّذِينَ يُلُونَ مِن نِسَائِهِمْ تَرَبَّصُوا أَرْبَعَةَ أَشْهُرٍ, those who renounce conjugal relationship with their wives on oath, have a limitation of 4 months. Now, what happens that if they reconcile and restore their relationship? Now, sometimes what happens? People, some husbands do ilah, right? Yuluna, ilah. So they do ilah and they say that I will not have, conjugal relationship with my wife. So, and they used to, keep unlimited period. So in that case, they were not, divorcing the wife, not letting him free. So she was passing her life not as his wife, nor neither as his wife nor as a free woman, so that she can marry another place. So Allah has set the limit that those who renounce conjugal relationship with their wives, and they have swear an oath, so the limitation is of 4 months. If they reconcile and restore their relationship, surely Allah is forgiving, merciful. So after 4 months, they have to either have relations with the wife, or they have to divorce. So there is a limitation in this. Okay, we'll see. Though it is true that relationships between husband and wife do not always remain cordial, yet Allah's law does not allow that the strained relations should continue indefinitely. Therefore, it lays down the maximum period of 4 months for a separation in which they legally remain husband and wife, but practically live separate lives without any conjugal relations between them. Such a separation is termed ilah in the Islamic code of law. During this period, they must either make a reconciliation between themselves or part for good, so that they may be free to marry a suitable person of their liking. Okay, so the ilah and its ruling. Ilah is a type of vow where a husband swears not to sleep with his wife for a certain period, whether less or more than 4 months. If the vow of Ilah was for less than 4 months, the man has to wait for the vow's period end and then is allowed to have a relation with his wife. She has to be patient and she cannot ask her husband, in this case, to end his vow before the end of the term. It is reported in the two Sahihs, Sahih Muslim and Bukhari. Aisha radiallahu anha said that Allah's messenger swore he would stay away from with his wife for a month. He then came down after 29 days. Why he came down after 29 days? Because the month can be of 29 days and 30 days, Islamic, according to lunar calendar. Ash-Shahru Tisa, the lunar month is 29 days. Similar was narrated by Umar bin Khattab and reported in the two Sahihs. If the period of Ilah is for more than 4 months, the wife is allowed in this case to ask her husband upon the end of the 4 months to end the Ilah and have relations with her. Otherwise, he should divorce her by being forced to do so by the authorities if necessary, so that the wife is not harmed. Allah said, Lillazina yuluna, those who take an oath not to have relations with their wives, meaning swear not to have relations with the wife. This ayah indicates that the ilah involves the wife and not to a slave woman, as the majority of the scholars have agreed. Tarabbasu arba'ata ashurin, so must wait for 4 months, meaning the husband waits for 4 months from the time of the vow and then ends the ilah. If the vow was for 4 or more months and is required to either return to his wife or divorce her, this is why Allah said next. Okay, now if the vow, the husband, set a vow that I will not be in relation with my wife. Both of them set a vow, and if they feel something, supposing the vow is for 1 month or 2 months, and after when they are not in relation with each other and they miss each other, it happens. When you are tired, studies also, when some students, they study a lot, their bachelors, their masters and their PhD and whatnot, and PhD take 4 months, and they get tired. So what the family says, okay, give a break. Okay, give a break. After the break, they are okay. In all the cases, when you work such, you're working also at some place, schooling, teaching in some office, and lots of years, a person work and he get tired, and then what the family member says, or he himself or herself realize, oh, I should give a break now, I should rest. So here it's also a break. So let's say they say 1 month, but Allah has set the rule 4 months, right? So 1 month or 2 months, and there is a break. Now they are not in term with each other, husband and wife, and a time comes because they have got good memories, they pass nice times, they have got children, the family, they decorated the house, they used to go for shopping together, grocery and so many things, so many good memories. The parties they used to enjoy, the friends together, enjoyed the children together, they're growing up, they're crawling, young children, they crawl, they start walking, talking. So it's a very happy moments for the husband and wives, right? So now they repent. Oh my God, there was a good life with husband says the life was good with the wife, and the wife says good life with husband. So doesn't matter if they say for 1 month I won't be in connection, in relations with husband or wife. So if they repent and they miss, they can. It doesn't mean they that 1 or 2 months they said, no, before that also they can join and they can have relation. So it is said fine fau. Then if they return, meaning to a normal relationship, having the relation, the private relation with wife. This is the tafsir of Ibn Abbas, Mashruk, and so many commentators. فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ غَفُورٌ رَحِيمٌ. Verily Allah is forgiving, most merciful, with any shortcomings that occurred in the rights of the wife because of the vow of Ilah. So Allah said, فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ غَفُورٌ رَحِيمٌ. That we did that. Okay. Now, so here, what we learned, it was ayah number 226, right? Ayah 226. Okay. So the summary is that if a man make a vow that he will not be in relation with his wife for a month or two, then for a month of two, a number of two, a month or two, after the completion of the term of the vow, 1 or 2 months, whatever he has relation with wife, then there is no kafara expiation. But if he is in relation with a wife before the period of vow, uh, a month or two, whatever he swore, then he has to pay the kafara expiation. Like I told, that they miss those moments and they repent, and then they join, because they had a vow that I won't be in relation with my wife for a month or two. But before that period, they are in relation. What they have to do, he has to pay a kafara expiation. If he swears for more than 4 months time, or not any limit of time, so in that case, this ayah says that after 4 months has elapsed, either you have to have relations with wife or divorce her. If he is keeping relation with wife, he has to pay expiation. If he is not doing any of the two, no relation, no divorce, then Sharia court will force him to either to be in relation with wife or divorce her. So there is no aggression on a woman, because then she's free. Either she join the husband, or either if he is not interested, she can marry again, or whatever she has to do, right? Marry again. Okay. So there is no aggression on a woman. Okay. So we'll start. So no, these ayahs, uh, I'm so much, impressed. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is so merciful. He's a Rahman ar Rahim, that He has never kept in us in darkness. When He has created us, He has revealed Quran for us, and He has every aspect of our life, every aspect, each and every aspect of our life. Allah has explained us what to do, what not to do. you know Menstruation, relations with parents, respecting parents, relations of husband and wife, with children, how to treat them, how to deal them, what to do, business transactions, each and every aspect, each and every walk of life. Allah has guided us, so that we may pass our life according to Quran and Sunnah, in the way which Allah has pleased. And Allah has made things easier for us. Supposing there was not limitation of 4 months, like people used to do before Quran came, before Prophet ﷺ was made a prophet. The unlimited period, they would not give divorce, or they would not reconcile with the wife. They would not keep the wife as a wife. No love, no care, nothing, and unlimited period. So uh, now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala Allah said that this is for 4 months, so there is no aggression on the woman. After 4 months, uh, the man has to he has to reconcile, have relations with the husband, with the wife, or he has to divorce. If he is not doing, then Sharia court would do that. It is must. So the woman is free. So whatever she wills, she can do. Okay, she can remarry or anything. So ayah number 227. We are thankful to Uzma, sister Uzma auntie. She has written us in broad, see, so prominent ayah 207. Whatever translation were, and in if azamu, they firmly resolve, determine, at talaqu, the talaq, divorce, for inna, for then, inna, indeed, Allah, Samiun is always all hearer, Alimun, and always all knower. So we shouldn't be shy reading these commands, reading these guidance in all walks of life, whether it's a relation between husband and wife, whether it's menstruation, whether it is divorce, because this is the kalam of Allah, and this is for guidance. Each and everywhere, in all every walk of life, there's a guidance. Okay. Yeah, we see our parents, they are, our family is united, they love each other, and we don't find. But there are families, these cases are there. This is the human nature. Okay. If you think that your father parents, and I think my parents were very good, they died, but I passed a very nice life, they were united, and there were harmony in the family. You also find harmony and united, and they have got love, and they're giving you love. They don't fight. Yeah, fights occurs because all everybody has difference of opinions. The difference of opinions are there, but our families are good. We love each other. There are difference of opinion because we all are born with different mind, different capacities. There are differences of opinions and everything, but still uh, our families are happy families. Our parents, your parents are united, they love each other, and we are passing good lives. But there are these problems in the society. Okay, so which is why Allah has guided us in all walks of life. So we should be thankful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Go and pray, the prostrate, the sajda of thankfulness, of gratefulness. Okay. Okay, so that we are born in a Muslim family, and Allah has blessed. We are blessed because we are Muslim. We are blessed. We have got the Quran. We have got the book, the book of guidance, and we have got the teachings, hadith also of Prophet Sallallahu. Okay, so fainna, for then indeed, inna indeed, Allah Samiun is always all hearer, Alimun is always all knower. Now, at the end of each ayah, we read the attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that He He's here, He's all knower, He's He's forgiving. Whatever you do tawbah. Allah is always forgiving. Okay, and He's always Halim. Okay, so we see the one in translation, surely no, but if they decide to divorce them, they may do so. Surely Allah hears and knows everything. You know, although divorce is not like, but Allah knew. Allah knew that there will be some person that they won't be lingering on the relation of husband and wife. Sometimes they don't go along. Habits are different. Minds are different, thinking are different. They try hard for years and years, 4 years, 5 years, and a time comes that they feel that they can't go along together. So Allah knows that. So Allah knows the nature of people. So Allah has kept the talaq also. Okay, although this is not like so. Wain azamut talaqa, and if they decide upon divorce, indicating that divorce does not occur by merely passing the 4 months mark during the ilah. Malik reported from Nafi that Abdullah bin Umar said, if the man swears to ilah from his wife, then divorce does not occur automatically, even after the 4 months have passed. When he stops at the 4 months mark, he should either divorce or return. Sahih Bukhari also reported the hadith. Ibn Jarir reported that such and said, commentator said, that his father said, I asked 12 companions about the man who does ilah with his wife. They all stated that he does not have to do anything until the 4 months have passed, and then has to either retain or divorce her. If he is not doing, after 4 months, I told you, then the Sharia court will do that. Either make him do that, either divorce or either reconcile. It has to be done after 4 months, so that woman is free. Okay, either join as of his wife, the same relationship as the human, man and woman, the husband and wife have the relation, the private relation and all the relation, or he should divorce. Okay, so the next ayah. Okay, ayah number 228, inshallah. Wal mutallaqatu. What translation? Were and al mutallaqatu. Those who women are divorced. Okay, now the woman is divorced. Yatarabbasna. They shall wait. Bi anfusihinna, by with themselves. Anfus, nafs, noon, fa, sin, soul, your nafs. Bi anfusihinna, by with themselves. Thalathata, three. So it's a number, it's a figure, like we say 1, 2, 3. So in Arabic, wahid, itnain, talata, arba, khamsa, sitta, sabah, tamaniya, tisa, ashara, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So thalasa is 3. Quru'in, of collection, menstrual courses, were and la, not. Yahillu, it is lawful. Lahunna, la, for hunna, them. It is a feminine, so it is hunna. Okay, and for men, ha is who is used. Okay, lahu, and lahunna is for female. Lahunna, hunna is for female, and lahu, who is for men. La, for hunna, them, women, and that yaktumna, they hide, conceal, ma, whatever, khalaka, He created khalaqa, he created Allah, fi in arhamihinna, their wombs. Raham is the singular, rahamim root word, and arham is the wombs, plural. Okay, raham is one womb, arham plural wombs. Arhamihinna, their wombs. In if kunna, they women were are yuminna, they women believe billah, in with Allah, were and al-yawmi, the day, al-akhir, the last, were and bawlatuhunna, their husbands, ahakku, are more entitled, rightful, biraddihinna, to with taking back them, fi in zalika, that in if aradu, they wanted, islahan, reconciliation, reformation, wa and lahunna, la is for hunna, them, women, mithlu, like, similar, allazi, of which, alayhinna, Allah, upon, against, hinna, them, alayhinna, is upon, against them, bil maruf, with, within the manner, way, recognized, approved, known, walir rijali, were and li is for a rijal, the men, walir rijali, were and li rijali is for the men, alayhinna, upon them. Again, hinna because it's about female, and for men is lahu, and for women hinna. Darajatun, a degree, rank, wa and Allahu, Allah, Azizun is always almighty, Hakimun, and always all wise. So, running translation. Wal mutallaqatu yatarabbasna bi anfusihinna thalathata qurun. So now divorce. Supposing the woman is divorced. Divorced women must keep themselves waiting for three menstrual periods. Okay. Wala yahillu lahunna an yaktumna ma khalaqallahu fi arhamihinna, and it is not lawful for them to hide what Allah has created in their wombs. Meaning, if they are divorced, they are not going to hide if they are pregnant. Okay, because if she is going after she's going to get married and other man, so one should know that this child belonged to the previous husband. In if kunna, they were, if they were, in kunna yuminna billahi wal yawmil akhiri, if these women believe in Allah and the last day. So what should do? If they believe in Allah and the last day, if they fear Allah, they shouldn't hide what is in their womb. If they are pregnant by that husband, they should declare that she is pregnant. وَبَؤُولَتُهُنَّ أَحَقُّ بِرَدِّهِنَّ فِي ذَلِكَ إِنْ أَرَادُوا إِصْلَاحًا. Okay. In such cases, their husbands have a right to take them back in that period. Talata Quru, in three menstrual period, husband can take them back if they desire reconciliation. Okay, then Allah says, um, uh, walahunna mislu ladhi alayhinna bil maruf, and women have rights similar to those exercised against them in an equitable manner. Walir rijali alayhinna daraja, although men have a status degree of responsibility above them. Wallahu azizun hakim, Allah is mighty and Allah is wise. Okay. Okay, yeah, we see the idda, waiting period of the divorced woman. The ayah contains a command that Allah, that the divorced woman whose marriage was consummated and who still has menstruation periods should wait for three menstrual periods, quru, after the divorce, and then marry if she wishes. So now, supposing she has been divorced, right? So she is not going to marry. She has got the idda. She has to wait three periods. Okay, three quru, talata quru. She has to wait three periods. After three menstruation periods have passed, after her divorce, then she can remarry. She has to wait three menstruation period. Then she can remarry. So, and then, which is why it is said that she has to declare if she is pregnant. The meaning of al quru. Jarir related that Al-Qama said, we were at Umar bin Al-Khattab when a woman came and said, my husband divorced me 1 or 2 periods ago. He then came back to me while I had prepared my water or taking a bath, took off my clothes and closed my door. Umar asked Abdullah bin Masud, what do you think? He said, I think that she is still his wife as long she is not allowed to resume praying, that is until the third period ends before he takes her back. Umar radiallahu said, this is my opinion too. This is also the opinion of Abu Bakr Siddiq, Umar, Uthman, such and such, so many narrators, so many commentators. Okay, the messenger said to her, do not pray during your akra for kuru, the menstruation period. Everybody knows during menstruation we are not going to pray. So uh, these men can take back, before these through three menstruation period, reconcile. If this hadith was authentic, it would have been a clear proof that kuru is the menstruation period. However, one of the narrators of hadith, al-Mundir, is unknown person in hadith terminology. He stated, although Ibn Habban has mentioned al-Mudir in his book al-Sik, this is all what the narrator said. Okay, a woman's statement about menses and purity is to be accepted, Allah said, and it is not lawful for them to conceal what Allah has created in their wombs, meaning of pregnancy or menstruation period. These are the narrators who said, narrated from Prophet Sallallahu. So one shouldn't hide, after the divorce, they should declare that they are pregnant. In kunna yuminna billahi wal yawmil akhir, if they believe in Allah and the last day, this ayah warns women against hiding the truth. If they are pregnant on their menses, it indicates that they are the authority in such matters as they alone know such facts about themselves. Since nobody know, only the woman know that she is pregnant. Okay, since verifying such matter is difficult, Allah left this decision with them. Yet women were warned not to hide the truth in case they wish to end the iddah sooner or later according to their desires. Women were thus commanded to say the truth if they were pregnant or on their menses, no more and no less. They should say whatever in their womb. The husband has the right to take back his divorced wife during the iddah waiting period, and waiting period is 3 months, right? Lunar months. Talata kuru, 3 menstruation period, and their husbands وَبَؤُولَتُهُنَّ أَحَقُّ بِرَدِّهِنَّ فِي ذَلِكَ in aradu Islam, and their husbands have the better right to take them back in that period if they wish for reconciliation. Hence, the husband who divorces his wife can take her back providing she is still in her iddah. The time spent before a divorced woman or a widow can remarry, and that his aim by taking her back is righteous and for the purpose of bringing things back to normal. However, this ruling applies where the husband is eligible to take his divorced wife back. We should mention that when this ayah which we are reciting, the ruling that made the divorce thrice and is specified when the husband is ineligible to take his divorced wife back, had not been revealed yet. Previously, the man used to divorce his wife and then take her back, even he had divorced her husband separate time. Thereafter, Allah revealed the following ayah, which we are reciting, which is our lesson, that made the divorce only thrice. So there was now a reversible divorce and an irreversible final divorce. So now the divorce is talata qurun, uh, three, menstruation period. It will be waited, and after the third menses, if they are not reconciling, then it's a divorce. The divorce, it will be a divorce, right? Okay. So we'll only a little, from another tafsir. It will take only 5 minutes, so we should, finish. We shouldn't keep it for the next time because next time we have got the that workshop. Okay, and the divorced women shall keep themselves waiting for 3 periods, and it is not legal for them to conceal what Allah has created in their wombs. Okay, because this is a very nice tafsir. It clear everything. If they do believe in Allah and in the last day, and their husbands are best entitled to take them back in the meantime if they want a settlement, and women have rights similar to what they owe as recognized, though for men there is a step above them, and Allah is mighty and wise. A So now there's a tafsir. Uh, Listen carefully. A great verse defining the status of men and women. This verse contains the rules of Sharia concerning the mutual rights and duties enjoined upon men and women and explains the degree of their role. Important details of this very rule appear before this verse and again after the verse, though through several sections. The place of women in Islam at this point, it seems pertinent to explain to some extent the status given by Islam to women. If understood in its full perspective, it will certainly lead to the conclusion that a just and moderate social system would not have required more than this. It may be noted that this is the crucial place. Any deviation or departure from which becomes a great danger for man's life here and in the hereafter. Deliberation would reveal that two things serve as the necessary basis for the survival and development of this world. There are women and wealth, but a look at the other side of the coin shows that this too some is also a source of disturbance, bloodshed, and tribulation. Further deliberation would easily help one reach the conclusion that although those who given their real place in life are instrumental in the progress of this world, yet as and when they are aimlessly moved away from their real place, they are capable of shaking the world like an earthquake. The Quran has given man a way of life, a system. Both these human factors have been assigned their correct respective places in a way that they yield the maximum benefits to the total exclusion of peacelessness. The proper place of wealth, the source of its acquisition, and the ways of spending it, as well as a just system of the distribution of wealth, is a regular field of knowledge. Detailed discussions of this subject we'll learn, through the ayahs when the ayahs come. Uh, the distribution of wealth could serve as an indicator of basics. Being discussed here at this point is women and her rights and duties. About this, the verse under the reference states, as there are rights of men over women which must be given, so there are rights of women over men which must be given. However, the quantum of difference that must be recognized here is men have a step above women. Almost the same subjects has appeared in Suratul Nisa in this manner. الرجال قوامون على النساء بما فضل الله بعضهم على بعض وبما أنفقوا من أموالهم. Men stand caretakers of women since Allah has made some of them excel the other and because they have spent of their wealth. Because men earns, bring money, bread, and he is the responsible for bread and butter also. That's why, and he's a caretaker of women. That's why Allah has made him above women. The status of women in pre-Islamic society. What was the status? Let's see. The status of women in pre-Islamic society before Islam, in the age of ignorance, Jahiliyyah, it was common practice that women are equated with articles of home use. They would be bought and sold like cattle. She had no right whatsoever in relation to her marriage. She had to go where she was sent by her guardian, far from being entitled to some share in the inheritance from her relative. She herself was treated as a piece of inheritance like any other household item. She was considered as something owned by man while she owned nothing. And even that which she allegedly owned, she could not spend without the permission of man. However, her husband had all the right. This is all about, pre-Islamic Jahiliyyah. However, her husband had all the right in the world to spend and that which belonged to her, as and how he elected to do so. She did not even have the right to question. So much so that some groups from amongst the European countries, which are considered to be among the most civilized in the world, today they had reached the limit where they did not even accept that women were human beings. Women had no place in religion. They were considered unfit for worship and for paradise. In some synods of Rome, it was decided after mutual consultation that she was a dirty animal which had no soul. Usually, it was considered permissible for a father to kill or even buy her daughter alive. In fact, this act was judged by a mark of honor and a standard of nobility. There were some who held the opinion that anybody that anybody who killed a woman did not have to pay blood money or be charged with retaliatory action. And should the husband die, the wife was burnt alive. And we know the Hindu do like this. The before they used to do, the wife was burnt alive with his dead body, following the birth of the noble Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and before his prophethood in the year 586, France showed its compassion for women by passing a resolution. Of course, after great deliberation and controversy, the woman is after all a human being, but she has been created for the sole purpose of serving men. In short, the whole world and all the nations and religions that inhabited in short, the whole world and all nations and religions that inhabited it had been treating women with callousness that makes one tremble with fear. For this poor creature, there was no reason, no justice anywhere. Ransomed by our lives for him who came as mercy of the world, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, our prophet, beloved prophet, and for the true religion which opened the eyes of the people of this world, taught men to respect men, made justice and equity the law. Men were made responsible for the rights of women parallel to their own rights on them. Woman was made free and independent. She became the owner of her life and property similar to men. No man can, even if he be a father or grandfather, force a woman to marry someone. Should she be given in marriage without her consent, the axe remains dangling on her consent. If she says no, it stands annulled. No man has any right to spend anything from that which belongs to her without her consent and approval. After the death of her husband or after having been divorced by him, she becomes independent and she cannot be compelled by anyone for anything. She gets a share in the inheritance of her relatives just like men. To spend on her and to keep her happy, she has been declared an act of ibadah, worship under the blessed law of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. On him peace and blessings sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Everybody say sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because if you say one darood, this is a short darood, then mercy fall on you. Should the husband fail to give the due rights, she could through an Islamic court force him to do also or to divorce her. Men's guardianship is essential for peace and order. Not giving women their due rights was ranked as injustice, oppression, stinginess, and villainy, which was erased by Islam. Similarly, leaving them to go their way with an unbridled liberty from the guardianship and care of men, and to make them earn their own sustenance and lie and live support amounts to wasting her rights and destroying her genius. Neither does she deserve the fate in view of her physique, nor does that great mission of bringing up children and the charge of family management, which has been naturally entrusted to her, deserve it. In addition to that, women are, when deprived of the guardianship and care of men, a greater danger for the whole human society, a situation that is bound to create all sorts of disturbances, including riots, bloodshed as a matter of daily routine. This is why the Noble Quran, while stating the mandatory rights of women, also declared Walil Rijalu alayhinna daraja, that is men. That is, men are a step above women, which in still other words amounts to saying that men are responsible for them as their caretakers. As it was in the first stage of ignorance before Islam, all nations of the world, by keeping women as a household item or a dumb animal, had fallen prey to this mistake. So it came to pass that, following Islam's age of decadence, there started a later age of ignorance. Here, the first mistake is being matched by yet another mistake as a reaction in the opposite direction. When efforts are being made continuously to get rid of even this much degree of precedence men have over women. As a result, obscenity and shamelessness became common. The world became a home of conflicts and disorder, and bloodshed became so cheap that the first age of ignorance remains so much anymore. There is an Arab saying, Al Jahil Amma Mufrad or mufrat, which means the ignorant man never stays on moderation. If he decides to stay from acting excessively, he slides into a behavior of neglect. This is the prevailing attitude in the world of today. There was that time when they were not even prepared to call or understand women as a member of the human race. Now they have advanced to the limit that the yoke of men's guardianship and caretaking of women, which is perfectly wise and suitable universally for men and women, is being thrown away. The ill consequences of which are becoming visible every day. And believe it, unless they bow down before this noble Quran, statements of the Quran, such disorders will go on increasing day by day. Government today make new laws incessantly to bring peace into the world. New institutions are established for this purpose. Millions are spent, but the source of disorders goes unnotified by them. If a commission of inquiry was to be established to determine the causes of disorder, bloodshed, and inheritance wars, it is likely that the cause of more than 50% of such crimes will turn out to be a woman and her unbridled freedom. But in the contemporary world, the prevailing pursuit of desires has confounded even the best minds to no corrective check against the worship of desires is even entertained. May Allah Almighty enlighten our hearts with the light of faith and help us act according to the guidance given in this book, in this Holy Quran, and in the conduct of the Holy Prophet, because this is a blessed capital both in this world and in the hereafter. And if a conflict and its resolution, we find out from this verse that the Quran tells the husbands and wife about duties assigned to each, whereby men have been placed under obligation to give women their rights in the same manner as women have been placed under obligation to give men their rights. This indicates that each party should watch out on the fulfillment of its respective duties rather than go after demanding fights. And should they succeed in doing so, the very issue of demanding rights will cease to exist, because the duties of men are the rights of women and the duties of women are the rights of men. So my dear daughters, rights and duties go together. When duties are taken care of, rights will be automatically fulfilled. These days the root of the troubles lies in the attitude of people who are alert of their rights but negligent of their duties. As a result, rights are demanded on a war footing, as is evident from the current confrontation between governments and masses, husbands and wives, and between other authorities and their challengers. This indicator of the Quran has modified the confrontational aspects of the issues by stressing that everyone should make all possible efforts to fulfill his or her duties, and when it comes to his or her own rights, try to overlook and infringements gently, forego and forgive. If this teaching of the Quran could come common universal practice, homes, families, even countries and governments will find the most of their conflicts have been resolved for good. Men's higher position over women is for discipline only. A universal system in the world, the human nature and the best interest of women themselves require that man be not only given a particular sort of controlling and caretaking over right over women, but that it be rather made incumbent on them. This is what has been stated in the verse, Rijalu Qawwamuna ala Nisa. This was, it's here in the ayahs in front of you on the scheme. Men stand caretakers of women, but this does not necessarily entail that all men are superior to all women, because being superior in the sight of Allah wholly depends on belief and good conduct. In divine dispensation, the increase or decrease in degrees operates in synchronization with the degrees of belief, disbelief, and conduct. Therefore, in matters relating to the hereafter, it is not necessary that man alone should continue to have that step or degree above women. This too is possible, and as elaborated in the Quranic verses and Hadith narrations, this is what would come to pass, that some women though through their obedience and to that some women through their obedience to and worship of Allah will become superior to many men with their degree of precedence, raising higher than many men. Although the Holy Quran, while describing the injunctions of Sharia according to its own clear stress, declares that men and women are absolutely equal, and injunctions absolutely equal, and the injunctions where there is some difference have been expressed. Expressly explained, but the address is generally to men and the gender use is masculine. This treatment, however, is not peculiar to the Noble Quran. Governments too use the masculine gender in their laws fairly commonly, although the law is universally applicable to men and women both. One immediate reason for this is the difference identified in the verses of the Noble Quran, that is, for man there is a step above woman. The second consideration, perhaps implied here as well, may be that satar, concealment, is better even when there is discussion about masturat, women, the concealed ones. Women are the concealed ones, right? But when women realize that the Noble Quran does not address them directly at various places like it does address men, the venerated mother of the faithful, Sayyida Umm Salama pointed this out to the Holy Prophet ﷺ, and thereupon the following verse of the Surah Al-Azab was revealed: Innal Muslimina wal Muslimati wal Mu'minina wal Mu'minati wal Qanitina wal Qanitati. Because Salama said, why always, masculine, is the sentences, address male and not female. So this ayah was revealed: Muslimat, Muslimin, Mominat, submitting men and submitting women, believing men and believing women, obedient men and obedient women. This appears in details in Surah An-Nisa, Masnad Ahmad, and Tafsir Ibn Jarir, etc., where women were clearly and expressly identified along with men, which implies that the status of women is no less than men in obedience to Allah and in his worship, in being near him and his approval, and in the ranks of paradise. According to a report in Tafsir ibn Kasir, some Muslim women came to the blessed wife of the Holy Prophet and asked about the general absence of any mention of Muslim women in the Holy Quran, while it does mention men at several places and also refers to the blessed wives of Prophet ﷺ from among women. Thereupon, the verse referred to above was revealed. To sum up, it can be said that a certain measures of precedence and authority in regulating the affairs of worldly life is for the good of women, and that wisdom so dictates. Other than that, there is no difference in the reward and retribution for these, good or bad, and in the degree of merit attained in the hereafter. The same subject appears in the Noble Quran with much more clarity in the following manner. Man amila salihan min dhakarin aw unsa wa huwa mu'minun falanuhyiyannahu hayatan tayyiba. Subhanallah. And whosoever male or female does a righteous deed while he or she is a believer, will shall assuredly get him or her to live a goodly life. After these preliminary remarks, let's ponder over the words of the original verse under discussion. It was said, "Walahunna mislul lazi alayna," and women have rights similar to what they owe. This, that is, their rights are incumbent upon men, similarly as the rights of men are incumbent upon them. Here, the rights of women were mentioned before the rights of men. One reason for which is that man, after all, given his physical power and God-given precedence, marriages to wrest his rights from women anyway. The concern should be for the rights of women, since they cannot habitually wrest their rights by force. There is yet another hint there here which suggests that men should take the first step to give the rights of women. However, the similarity and equivalency declared by the use of the word mithla, like similar, in the next year could just never mean that the kind of job men do should also be done by women, or vice versa, because the distribution of work and respective duties for men and women are naturally different. In fact, it means that it is obligatory that rights belonging to both be observed equally and mutually, and that the punishment for any negligence or shortcomings be also equal. It is worth observing that at this point how the Noble Quran has in a sentence or so small miniaturized a whole roster of rights and duties, since all rights women have over men and all rights men have over women are included under the sense of this verse. Muhit simply by adding one more word, bil maruf, justly, uprightly, kindly, courteously, according to the practice approved by the Sharia, or simply as recognized. A closer expression used in the accompanying the translation of the word, the possible occurrence of mutual controversies was eliminated. It was established that rights should be given using the maruf mentioned, because the meaning of maruf includes that which is neither prohibited nor impermissible under the dictates of the Sharia, nor does it have any element of hardship or excess under common habit or customs of urf. The the purport is that observing the routine of legal provisions is not enough. Instead, it will be examined that according to URF or customarily approved practice, the other party does not in any case suffer from pain or loss. That which is judged to be a source of pain and loss in view of URF will be forbidden and remain impermissible. For instance, coldness, indifference, or such behavior or conduct which causes pain. These can hardly be covered under an article of law, but the word bil maruf does not encompass them. After that, it was said, Wali Rijali alayhinna daraja, though for men there's a step above them. They are well known meaning and sense of this does encompass them. After that, it was said, Wali Rijali alayhinna daraja, though for men there is a step above them. The well known meaning and sense of this verse is that despite the rights of the parties being equal, Allah Almighty has bestowed upon men a certain degree of precedence and authority over women, that there is a great wisdom in doing so has been hinted at by the use of the words Wallahu Azizun Hakim, and Allah is mighty, wise, towards the end of the verse. Giving the meaning of this sentence, Sayyidina Abdullah bin Abbas radiallahu anh was added that Allah Almighty has given men a degree of precedence as compared to women, therefore they should act with much more forbearance. Even if women fell short of giving them their rights, the degree of their precedence is such that they should bear by it, be patient, and do nothing to desist and from giving them their rights. It is said by Qurtubi. So this was the very good tafsir of Ayat 228 from Mariful Quran. The Mufassir is uh, Shafi Muhammad. Okay, so we'll conclude here. I'm sorry, but it was, very much necessary that we should know all the, rights of the woman and the presidents, etc. So there shouldn't be any, misconcept. Okay, so we'll conclude here. uh, subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk. Barakallah fi ilmik wa malik wa rizqukum wa akhatukum wa ahlukum wa malukum amin ya rabbal alamin. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk. Jazakallahu khairan kathiran kathira. So the time is also up, more time, but it was very necessary. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Now there is a reminder, inshallah, next week we are going to have a workshop, the last journey, because we couldn't do today because we have to go to, one dars, so we have to hurry, and that will take more time, this workshop. So inshallah, I will send you the flyer also and all the details, Zoom link and everything. So you can share to your contacts, so more and more sisters can join. Inshallah, next week, next Saturday, everything is ready. Sister Uzma has also prepared all the slides. She's helping me. We are doing together, inshallah. And the lectures are, ready. I mean, they did the Urdu one, but we have to make the slides. But everything is ready now. But we had to go today. We have to go today, inshallah, for others. So inshallah, next week. I would love to take your reflections, though, because time is 10 more minutes more I've taken. But these ayahs are so important that we should know. Okay, who will be first, inshallah?